Everyone knows Egypt has pyramids, but did you know there are hundreds more across the world? They rise from the sands of Giza, majestic, mathematical, mysterious. For most of us, the word pyramid brings just one image to mind: Egypt. But what if that image is incomplete? Scattered across deserts, jungles, mountains, and islands stand hundreds more pyramids. Some larger than Egypt's, some older, some carved deep into the earth. They span continents, built by civilizations who never met, across thousands of years of history. And yet, somehow, they all turn to the same shape: a triangle that touched the sky, a tomb, a temple, a monument, a message. We still don't fully know. In this video, we're taking you across 6 continents, from the golden sands of Sudan to the rainforests of Guatemala to the frozen mountains of China, to reveal the world's hidden pyramids. Along the way, we'll ask the deeper questions. Why did so many cultures build pyramids without contact? Was it coincidence or something more universal? Let's begin by setting the record straight. Egypt does not have the most pyramids. That title belongs to Sudan, home to over 200 pyramids, many of them clustered in Meroe. Narrower, steeper, and lesser known, these structures are part of the ancient Nubian kingdom of Kush. They're older than some of Egypt's later pyramids, and yet barely a footnote in most history books. From there, we go west, across the Atlantic, to the Americas, where civilizations like the Maya, Aztecs, and the builders of Teotihuacan raised massive temples that towered over their cities. The Great Pyramid of Cholula in Mexico. It's the largest pyramid in the world by volume, hiding under a hill. Keep watching, because this is only the beginning of the story, and by the end, you might never look at human history the same way again. Africa is the birthplace of the pyramid, and yet even here, the story is more expansive than we're taught. Let's begin with Egypt. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built for Pharaoh Khufu around 2600 BCE, is often called the last surviving wonder of the ancient world. Standing 146 meters high when completed, it remained the tallest human-made structure for over 3,800 years. But Khufu's pyramid is only one piece of a sprawling legacy. The pyramid field stretches far beyond Giza, to Saqqara, Dashur, Meidum, Abu Sir, and more. The step pyramid of Djoser at Saqqara, built over 4,700 years ago, marks the beginning. Designed by the architect Imhotep, it was the first monumental structure built entirely of stone. From there, pyramid building evolved. Some were smooth-sided, like the Red Pyramid of Sneferu, Egypt's first true pyramid. Others were experimental, like the Bent Pyramid, with its strange mid-slope shift. And not all pyramids were grand. Later rulers, lacking resources or power, built smaller ones. The tombs of Teti, Unas, and Pepi II show the shift from royal power to symbolic presence. Yet Egypt's dominance over the pyramid narrative has overshadowed an astonishing truth. The country with the most pyramids in the world is Sudan. South of Egypt, along the Nile in ancient Nubia, lies the kingdom of Kush. From 800 BCE to 300 CE, the Kushites built over 200 pyramids in places like Meroe, Nuri, El Kuru, and Gebel Barkal. These pyramids are different, steeper, narrower, and smaller, but no less significant. Many are clustered closely together, creating an otherworldly skyline of stone. The royal tombs of Meroe show not just architectural skill, but a cultural pride in pyramid building. that lasted centuries longer than in Egypt. For a long time, these structures were barely studied, often ignored by archaeologists focused solely on the north. Some were even looted by early explorers. But recent years have brought a renewed interest, and Sudan's pyramids are finally being recognized for what they are: a legacy of resilience, power, and African innovation. Together, Egypt and Sudan show us the pyramid was not a singular idea. It was a living, evolving tradition across centuries and cultures. And this is just one continent. Across the Atlantic, in the heart of Mesoamerica, the pyramid re-emerges, but in an entirely different form. Instead of tombs for pharaohs, these pyramids were temples, places of ritual, astronomy, and power. Let's start with Teotihuacan in central Mexico, a city so ancient, even the Aztecs didn't know who built it. They called it the place where the gods were created. Here stands the Pyramid of the Sun, one of the largest structures in the pre-Columbian Americas. Built around 200 CE, it rises 65 meters high and spans 220 meters wide. Aligned with celestial events, it speaks to a civilization deeply connected to the cosmos. Nearby is the Pyramid of the Moon and the intricately decorated Temple of the Feathered Serpent, featuring over 200 stone serpent heads embedded in its walls. But Teotihuacan is just the beginning. Further east lies El Taji, home to the Pyramid of the Niches, named for the 365 symbolic cavities carved into its facade, a calendar in stone. In the Yucatan Peninsula, the Maya left their mark. Their pyramids were not just monuments, they were stories encoded in stone. At Uxmal, the Pyramid of the Magician towers above the ruins, its oval base setting it apart from anything in Egypt or Teotihuacan. According to legend, it is built in a single night by a dwarf sorcerer. And then there's Chichen Itza, home to the iconic Temple of Kukulkan, also known as El Castillo. It's a masterpiece of Maya astronomy. On the spring and autumn equinox, a shadow serpent appears to slither down the staircase, a visual effect created by the precise angle of the sun. Deeper in the jungle at Palenque lies the Temple of the Inscriptions, containing the tomb of King Pakal, one of the only Maya pyramids that doubles as a burial site. But the largest pyramid in the world by volume, that's not in Egypt, it's in Cholula, Mexico. The Great Pyramid of Cholula is massive, over 4.45 million cubic meters. But you wouldn't know it at first glance. Today, it looks like a hill, topped by a Spanish church. Centuries of earth, vegetation, and colonization have hidden it in plain sight. Moving south, we enter Guatemala, the land of ancient cities swallowed by jungle. At Tikal, pyramid temples rise like stone fingers through the canopy. Some of these structures are over 70 meters tall, built between 200 and 900 CE. Their steep, narrow steps were designed not for walking, but for ceremony and spectacle. Even older than Tikal is El Mirador, home to La Danta, one of the largest pyramids by volume on Earth. Though partially excavated, it remains largely hidden in the dense forest. Built around 300 BCE, it suggests the Mayas' architectural genius began far earlier than many believed. Smaller sites like Yaxha, Huaxactún, and Belize's Caracol, Lamanai, and Xunantunich also showcase stunning stepped pyramids, often aligned to solstices, equinoxes, or Venus. In Honduras, the city of Copan features the Temple Rosalila, preserved intact beneath later layers of construction. Its red-painted walls and intricate carvings are among the most detailed in the Maya world. Further south, in Peru, we find pyramids with a completely different aesthetic. In Caral, considered one of the oldest cities in the Americas, pyramidal structures date back over 4,500 years, almost parallel to Egypt's early dynasties. But these were not tombs or temples. Many were civic centers, used for ritual, politics, and trade. In the north, the Moche culture built the Pyramid of the Sun and Moon, massive adobe structures covered in murals and built in stages over centuries. And at Tucumán, the Lambayeque and Sican cultures left behind more than 24 pyramids made of mud brick. Though time and erosion have worn them down, their scale is still staggering. Across the Americas, pyramids served different purposes: temples, calendars, civic hubs, even living monuments. But they shared one thing in common: a shape that pointed upward, connecting earth and sky. Civilizations separated by vast distances, and yet drawn to the same sacred geometry. If the pyramids of Africa and the Americas are about size, Asia's pyramids are about mystery. We begin in China, where strange flat-topped mounds dot the countryside near the ancient city of Xi'an. For decades, these earth-covered structures were overlooked, some even used for farming. But they're no hills. They are pyramids, ancient imperial tombs, many of them sealed, unexplored, and protected by the state. The most famous lies just east of Xi'an, the mausoleum of the first Qin emperor, guarded by the Terracotta Army. Completed around 210 BCE, this underground complex was built to house China's first emperor in the afterlife, and it's massive. Estimates suggest the full tomb has yet to be uncovered. Nearby, the White Pyramid of Xi'an, a rumored giant structure allegedly seen by World War II pilots, remains the subject of speculation. Some claim it's hidden under vegetation, others believe it never existed. But satellite images reveal dozens of unexplored pyramidal mounds in the region. China's pyramid tradition, though lesser known, speaks to a civilization that saw death not as an ending, but a continuation of empire in another realm. Heading south to India, we don't find true pyramids, but we do find pyramid forms embedded in sacred architecture. In Tamil Nadu, the Brihadisvara temple rises like a stepped tower, its pyramidal shape guiding the eye upward toward the divine. Built in the 11th century CE, it reflects the Hindu idea of the temple as a cosmic mountain, linking heaven and earth. Similarly, in Mahabalipuram, the Shore Temple and nearby rock-cut structures follow stepped pyramid-like forms. These weren't tombs, but temples housing gods instead of kings. Traveling to Indonesia, we encounter one of the most stunning religious monuments on earth, Borobudur. Built in the 9th century, this massive Buddhist temple is a stepped pyramid consisting of 9 stacked platforms topped by a central dome. It's also a mandala, a symbolic map of the universe, carved entirely from stone. Viewed from above, Borobudur isn't just architecture, it's cosmology. Pilgrims walk it in a spiral, ascending from the earthly realm to nirvana. Nearby, in West Java, lies Gunung Padang, a mysterious, terraced megalithic site perched atop a hill. Some researchers claim it predates known history by tens of thousands of years. Others argue it's a natural formation modified by early cultures. The debate continues. But what's clear is that something ancient, deliberate and pyramid-like stands here, blending geology and architecture. Across Asia, pyramids aren't always obvious. They're temples, tombs, terraces, blending into landscapes, layered with meaning. Where the West sees monuments, the East often sees symbols. But the geometry remains the same, rising tiers, narrowing upward, reaching toward something greater. Our final stop takes us to places where pyramids seem least expected, and sometimes most debated. Let's begin in Europe, where pyramids are rare, but not absent. In Greece, the Pyramid of Hellinikon sits quietly in the Argolid region. Made of limestone blocks and dated by some to the 4th century BCE, its purpose remains a mystery. Was it a tomb, a guard post, a monument? Scholars still disagree, and its very classification as a pyramid is contested. In Italy, the ancient Etruscans built large terraced structures, like the one at Bomarzo, cut into volcanic rock. Though not pyramids in the traditional sense, their steep, layered design shares similar geometry. Fast forward to modern times, and Europe embraces pyramids as a symbol of art and innovation. Nowhere more famously than in Paris, where the Louvre Pyramid, a glass and steel structure designed by E.M. Pei, stands as a beacon of modern architecture rooted in ancient form. It's not a tomb or temple, but a museum entrance, yet its pyramid shape still captivates millions. Now we cross to Oceania, where Tonga surprises us. Here, the royal tombs of the ancient Tui Tonga kings, called Langi, rise in terraced layers. Constructed from massive coral slabs, some dating back over 700 years, these tombs resemble small stepped pyramids. Aligned with celestial patterns and built with precision, they reflect the islanders' deep astronomical knowledge and social hierarchy. But no discussion of global pyramids is complete without the controversial. Let's start with Bosnia. In the town of Visoko, a set of hills gained worldwide attention in the early 2000s when claims emerged that they were actually massive man-made pyramids, the largest in the world according to some. Dubbed the Bosnian Pyramids, these formations, especially the so-called Pyramid of the Sun, sparked intense debate. Excavators found stone blocks, underground tunnels, and artifacts. But most archaeologists dismiss the site as a natural geological formation misinterpreted by fringe theorists. Still, the site draws tourists, spiritual seekers, and independent researchers, all drawn by the possibility of ancient secrets buried in Europe's heartland. Further east, off the coast of Japan, lies the Yonaguni Monument, an underwater structure discovered in 1986. Sharp angles, flat terraces, and staircase-like forms suggest human modification. Is it a sunken pyramid, an ancient temple, or just a natural rock formation sculpted by ocean currents? No consensus has been reached, but once again, the shape stirs our imagination. Back in Indonesia, Gunung Padang, which we touched on earlier, continues to stir controversy. Some geologists believe it contains layers dating back tens of thousands of years, far older than any known pyramid. If true, it could rewrite the timeline of human civilization, but others remain skeptical, citing a lack of peer-reviewed evidence. Then there's the modern world, where pyramid shapes continue to echo through architecture, sometimes for nostalgia, sometimes for symbolism. In the United States, the Memphis Pyramid in Tennessee started as a sports arena and now houses a massive Bass Pro Shops. In Las Vegas, the Luxor Hotel recreates the grandeur of Giza with neon lights and slot machines. The Transamerica Pyramid in San Francisco is another modern marvel, a skyscraper that borrows ancient geometry for futuristic design. Even Slovakia's inverted pyramid, the Slovak radio building, flips the form upside down, challenging everything we associate with the structure. Why do we keep returning to the pyramid shape across time, culture, and purpose? Because it speaks to something deeper. It represents stability, ascension, power, eternity. Whether made of limestone, adobe, coral, or glass, the pyramid endures. Across deserts, jungles, oceans, and mountains, we've followed a pattern etched in stone, the pyramid. Built by kings and commoners, shaped by faith, astronomy, and power, raised with primitive tools, yet aligned with cosmic precision. From the sands of Egypt and Sudan to the temples of Mexico and Guatemala, from the tombs of China to the stepped terraces of Indonesia, even to the coral tombs of Tonga and the icy hills of Bosnia. Civilizations separated by oceans, and yet they all turn to the same form. Why? Was it practical? The pyramid is one of the most stable structures in architecture. Wide at the base, rising upward, resisting gravity and erosion. Was it symbolic? A connection between earth and sky, the material and the divine, a stairway to the gods, no matter what gods those were? Or was it something deeper, a shared intuition in the human mind? An ancient shape buried in our collective memory? We may never know for certain, but here's what we do know. The pyramid is not Egyptian, it's not Maya, it's not Chinese, Sudanese, or Polynesian. It is human, a global expression of power, spirituality, and genius, repeated again and again in different languages, different landscapes, and different centuries. And maybe that's the real wonder. Not just that pyramids exist across the world, but that we, as a species, keep building them, reaching upward, leaving behind something that lasts, a shape that speaks without words to the eternity we all seek.